Alright guys, Tactical here, and today we're going to talk about the new Splyce roster. This hasn't been officially confirmed, but a couple of days ago Splyce announced the addition of Accuracy to the team, and last night they announced Loony. He then put out this twit longer, which effectively revealed the entire team. Clearly not intentional because he deleted it a few minutes later, but it's effectively been confirmed now. It's been rumoured for a few days anyway, so the team is looking like Jurd, Accuracy, Aqua, Temp and Loony. Very interesting team. I don't think a lot of people saw this coming. It's actually better than what I predicted Splyce to get, and I actually have quite a lot of faith in this roster to maybe win one tournament or at least mix it up at the top. Definitely kind of an underdog team considering there's so many stacked teams out there right now, but I think these guys have superb potential. I'd be interested to know your thoughts. Clearly some of the players on this team aren't exactly well liked by the community, so I think people's estimates of the team probably are slightly under what they should be, but we'll get into that in a second. Of course, Madcat, Bance and Josh have been released from the team. Madcat and Josh are supposedly teaming with Dave and Alex and rumoured to be PT, which hasn't been quite announced yet. And Bance, of course, is now on that Red Reserve roster, which I talked about a week or so ago. So Splyce are certainly going for a championship contending team. They want to be the best team in the world here, and I like the way they've gone with this. These players are all winners. Jurd, of course, won Stage 1 playoffs last year. Accuracy, of course, won 3 championships in World War II. Loony, also with 3 championships. He also won the CW Las Vegas Open in Infinite Warfare with Aqua, the opening event of that season. And one of the themes here with Loony, Aqua and Accuracy is being really good in the early game. Loony won South Carolina in Black Ops 3, the first event of that season. Loony and Aqua won CW Las Vegas, as I said, the start of the Infinite Warfare season, as you can see here. So South Carolina, Loony won it on the Rise team. A year later, Rise won it again. The Las Vegas Open with Aqua this time, and of course this season we got Accuracy winning the Dallas Open with Team Caliber, of course. So early game they clearly have some potential, and there's no risk of this team choking on main stage or anything like that, and that's a great start for a team you're trying to set up for success. So let's start with Jurd. I think a lot of North American fans of Call of Duty don't fully appreciate how good this guy is. I know it's anecdotal, but I was doing some refereeing for the matches at Birmingham. Of all the players that I sat next to and watched, Jurd was by far the most impressive. His PPSH did not move one bit. He was always willing to jump out first, even when he was weak, to bait for his team and create space on the map. Fabulously talented in Search and Destroy as well. Superbly clutch player. Of course, we all remember his 1-point throws in uplink. He almost never missed one. If that game mode comes back, it doesn't matter either way. He's superbly talented in terms of his mechanics. When they won Stage 1 playoffs with Splyce in Infinite Warfare, he made the play in that round 11 against Luminosity in Game 5 to win them the map. Got first blood, used a FTL jump to bait out Octane, and they ended up trading him out for the victory. This is a guy who never feels the pressure and is probably one of the best SMG players in the entire game. In my opinion, maybe the best player ever to never win champs. I guess you could say Octane or something like that, but how long Jurd has been doing it, I think he's definitely underappreciated. And I hope this team has success just to help Jurd show the world how good he is again. Now, one thing people say about Jurd is he doesn't maybe have the best communication, right? From what I could tell, he kind of communicates what's required, but there's other members on the team that tend to do more in terms of communication, and who else to bring in but Loony? If you want a vocal leader, this is the guy you'd like on your team. Won 3 championships, of course, with Rise Nation in this last year. And he actually teamed with Jurd back in the day, at the end of Advanced Warfare, before there was the region lock situation in Black Ops 3. He actually teamed with Jurd on this Envy roster where they come 4th at the MLG World Finals, and they did pretty good in a 2K. So he has some experience teaming with these players, and even though this team might look like a mismatch of different talents from all over the place, a lot of these guys have played with each other before, so there's definitely some pedigree coming in. Now, Loony, of course, on the Rise team that won 3 events in this last season in World War II, of course. They won Atlanta, they won Anaheim, and they, of course, won Seattle as well, as you can see right here. Of course, he didn't have to be the star player on these teams. TJ, Methods, Gunless doing most of the heavy lifting, but Loony put up a solid, pretty much a 1.0 over the entire year. Really good as a support SMG. Did exactly what you required of him. I think without this player, without Loony on the team, these guys could have clashed heads. It would have been very difficult to keep all the hot heads on the Rise Nation team under wraps. And there's a very similar situation here in Splyce, right? Temp and Accuracy, known for their kind of heated personalities to some extent. Loony's definitely the ideal target to keep these guys under wraps. So I definitely think Loony was underrated last season. He's won an event in the last 3 titles. Won 3 in World War II, won Las Vegas, as I said, in Infinite Warfare, and he won South Carolina in Black Ops 3. So this guy knows how to win championships, and he's worked with a lot of these other players before. I wouldn't be surprised if he can get the best out of these guys again. Next up, we've got accuracy, probably coming in as the main assault rifle. He can also potentially play a flex role as well. He was the most decorated assault rifle in terms of achievements, you could say, in the World War II season. All these number 1s you can see down here. Won Dallas, New Orleans. Of course, they went on to win Stage 2 as well. Come second at the World League Championship. Didn't have crazy stats, I guess you could say, over the entire season. But he is a really strong search and destroy player. Well, look at the S&D stats here, actually. Accuracy's at a 1.18, and Aqua, who we'll go on to, who definitely had an underwhelming year by his standards in the last couple of jetpack games, he had a 1.23 in search. That sort of stuff cannot be underrated. TJ and Accuracy kind of both share the title of the Iceman. They very rarely falter under pressure, and as I say, this Splyce team is built around players who have the composure and have the experience to take home trophies, and that's really what Splyce are going after. They may not have the craziest of talents on their lineup, but in terms of having a core that's designed to win tournaments, this team is right up there. So, as Accuracy's assault rifle duo, you're going to have Aqua. This guy's team with Loony in the past, back in Advanced Warfare on the Envy team. Fast forward a little bit after the Elevate lineup, he goes on to Rise, wins Las Vegas, of course, and he played with Loony on Rise for a long time. Loony got a fantastic form out of Aqua. Aqua was really at his best in this period of Infinite Warfare. I guess you could say back in Advanced Warfare as well, he was sick. He was such a strong player, putting up huge numbers with the assault rifle. Some people kind of label him as a bit of a kill whore, but from what I saw of him, I was always really impressed. If Loony can get him back to form on this Splyce team, they could be deadly. His search and destroy as well, really strong, 1.23. He clutched some crazy rounds this year. So he's been kind of under the radar with other players coming up, Dashy, Slasher, but he's also right up there in terms of KD for Respawn with a 1.07. He pretty much had to play every role because for some reason on Echo Fox they decided to make Facento the main assault rifle for a bit. Temp was using an AR, so Aqua was quite often forced into an unconventional SMG role for him. Back on the main AR, he should be at top form again, and this is not a guy to underestimate even though he had kind of a rough year last time around. So that leads pretty nicely into the last player on the team. For the last couple of months, Aqua has been teaming with Temp. Probably the most hot-headed guy on this team. Another really young talent that has definitely shown some crazy potential, but it's kind of been overshadowed by, I guess you could say, his ego and some of the shit talking he does, and his personality, I guess, kind of is the main storyline rather than his skill. He definitely has earned a lot of haters, put it that way, and I think the Temp being on this Splyce team will make a lot of people who would have supported this squad kind of question their decision. Now, he's not going to care that much about that if they actually go on to win a load of trophies, but having Accuracy, Temp, and Loony on a team isn't a recipe to get all the fans behind you. But of course, that's not really what they're going for. Now, Temp as well had crazy numbers this season. He had a 1.07, similar to the kind of Aqua statistics. He's not as good in Search and Destroy, but in a similar sense to Aqua, he used a lot of different weapons this year. Temp started out the year kind of playing an assault rifle role a little bit. Towards the end, I think he more used an SMG because Facento was going to AR for some reason. And that's pretty much the role he'll have to play on this team. Jurd, of course, will be your aggressive sub leading the line. Temp will probably be secondary to support him. Then Loony will probably be your third sub. He's more likely going to be the leader of the team, so it makes sense to have him in kind of an aggressive role, but to some extent a little bit behind the front line. Then Accuracy and Aqua should be your assault rifles. Accuracy tends to be a slightly slower player than Aqua. I think Aqua's kind of more aggressive, so he'll probably play a slightly more aggressive AR role. Accuracy will control the pace from the back. That's how I predict things going, but maybe there's a better way to organise this team that I haven't considered. I'd be interested to hear your thoughts below. So Temp's definitely had some success. If you go to the offline tournaments he's competed in, go back to Advanced Warfare, third, second. Advanced Warfare, he had a really good time on this Denial team for a little bit. This year, not so much. Fourth at Seattle was the best they could really do, just about made playoffs in the Pro League. But maybe with another year under his belt in the World War II season, Temp has a chance to realise that, he's not the best player in the world. He has some improvements to make, and hopefully this team can drill into him that, you've got to grind and you've got to work to be the best team in the game. I think if Temp puts his head down along with the rest of these guys, he could be a super deadly duo with Jurd. The slaying power here is definitely there, but of course, the attitude issues and the potential for implosion on this team due to personality clashes is certainly there. I think Loony will have to be at the heart of trying to keep that under control. And if he can do so, there's good hope. Marky B, of course, is also coming on as coach from the World War II season. Not sure how much he really brought to the old Splyce team, but you never know, he might be able to help with those potential chemistry issues as well. And despite this team having a lot of personalities that the community doesn't necessarily get along too well with, Marty, the co-founder of Splyce, tweeted this out a month and a bit ago. For Call of Duty pros worldwide, wanted to make it clear we are going to build the best team in the world. This is the line I like. Our infrastructure next year will be second to none. So infrastructure probably meaning, of course, they've already got a coach. They'll probably have maybe an analyst on top of that. Who knows? They'll almost certainly have a team house. They're going to be based in the States, so they're going to have fantastic practice, almost certainly. They're putting their all into having the best team here, so maybe they even go down the sports psychologist route and do things which other organisations haven't really considered. So not only do I think this roster is better than a lot of people are saying, I think that the potential for the infrastructure that Splyce are going to introduce may tip them over the boundary of just being a contender. At the start of the World War II season, we thought we knew who the top teams were going to be, but TK come out of nowhere and surprise all of us. Going into Black Ops 4, most people will say that 100 Thieves and OpTic are the teams to beat, but who knows, Splyce might throw their hat in the ring. They're typically good at the first event of the year, and once this supposedly fantastic infrastructure starts to kick in throughout the season, they could get even better. Aqua has typically been phenomenal at champs, placed top 4 in Advanced Warfare, Black Ops 3 and Infinite Warfare. Didn't have so much luck in the World War II season, but maybe that's made up for by the success of his counterparts on this Splyce roster. So, like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new. I'd be interested to hear your thoughts down in the comments below. How much faith do you really have in this team to contend for titles, maybe even win one? Certainly the caliber seems to be there, but of course there are so many other stacked teams that I guess on paper are slightly better than these guys. They definitely don't have the best players in terms of a fan base, and even being from Europe myself, I kind of struggle to support this team. I don't love the guys on this team apart from I guess Jurd, and I have a lot of respect for Loony, but the rest of them I can't say I have too much love for. But I think this team could be better than a lot of people are saying. Thank you guys so much for watching as always, and I'll see you next time.